This is a recording of this year's Virtual Residency Fair. We'd like to take the time to thank the programs that volunteered their time to present to this year's applicants. This year's PM&R Scholars Virtual Residency Fair is supported by PM&R Recap and Ultrasound Guidance. PM&R Recap is the leading resource for your physiatry board preparation, clinical preparation, audition rotations, and beyond. PM&R Recap offers 35 hours of review videos, hundreds of review questions, and oral board cases to help you become the best physiatrist that you can be. Head to pmnrrecap.com to learn more. Ultrasound Guidance is the innovative new online ultrasound learning platform that gives you instant access to expert instruction. With rapid scans and complete scans of every joint and peripheral nerve, Ultrasound Guidance is the perfect way to jumpstart your MSK ultrasound learning. Visit ultrasoundguidance.com to learn more.
Okay. So we're just waiting for my other half to join. So just to get started, my name's Kendall. I'm one of the chief residents for Albany Medical Center. My other half, his name is Sam. He's the other chief resident. So there's two of us per year. It is a categorical program. So there's, your intern years included, but you sort of belong to the medicine team during that year. And then years 2, 3, 4, you sort of assimilate back into being a PM&R resident. Let me share the right screen. There we go. There we go. Okay. So Dr. Huss, our program director, Sam and myself, like I said, we're the PGY4s, and 2 per class. So the PGY2s belong to Sunnyview, which is our sort of affiliate inpatient rehab hospital. It's 115 beds. And you sort of rotate through those various units sort of month after month within Sunnyview. You do 2 months of outpatient as a PGY2. For PGY3, it's 10 months of outpatient, 2 months of inpatient. So you just round out that 1 year of inpatient. And then PGY4 is all outpatient. As far as call goes, PGY1, again, you belong to the medicine team. So it's sort of long calls and, things within the internal medicine program. For your PGY2 year, you'll do 11 calls per year, and call for us means you're physically in Sunnyview from like 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. just covering acute issues and doing a couple of admissions. And you've got mid-level support and other people there to kind of help you out. So you're not covering that whole hospital by yourself. PGY3, you do 9 of those weekend calls, Saturday, Sunday, and PGY4, you do 6. So sort of Albany Medical Center, right? It's located sort of in the Hudson Valley, south of the Adirondacks, north of the Catskills. And so you're sort of tucked in this nice little beautiful mountainous area. And you service this huge swath of land as far south as New York City, as far east as Boston, and as far west as Syracuse or Buffalo. So big catchment radius. Albany Medical Center, sort of the flagship hospital, like it says up here, is 766 beds. It's a level 1 trauma center. There's other various satellite hospitals, but we don't necessarily rotate through those. And apparently, Albany Medical Center's ER is the busiest in New York State. So you see a lot of stuff. A little bit about Sunnyview. So Sunnyview is sort of like an affiliate of Albany Med in the sense that they belong to a separate hospital system called St. Peter's. But the residency program has an agreement that they will take the PGY2 residents for that 12 months of inpatient. And we will supply, them with residents for call and that sort of thing. But they've got your classic inpatient rehab, rotation, stroke, TBI, amputation stuff, cardiopulm, orthopedic. Outpatient rotations, they're varied. We've got a brand new sports medicine doc starting in November. We've got ultrasound clinics, spasticity clinics, specialty clinics like muscular dystrophy, interventional pain and spine stuff, EMG, nerve conduction studies, a lot of one-on-one time, again, with attendings because it's such a small, tight-knit group, and a ton of Botox and spasticity management. So if that's something you're into, that's something that we have a lot of. Didactics, we do a half day on Wednesday every week. So it's from like 1 to 4. So it's not overly cumbersome, but the board pass rates are typically pretty good. We do a lot of ultrasound and fluoroscopy stuff, workshops that we mixed into that, journal clubs, grand rounds. And we try and get guest speakers in, whether it's one of the local prosthetics or orthotics groups, have them come in and talk to us about their technologies, or other various subspecialty groups. Resident life, cheap cost of living, right? You're in sort of northern New York. Your salary is actually pretty nice. I think that might be outdated, that 69,000. But it's a pretty high starting PGY1 salary, and it goes up every year. You get a meal stipend. I think it's 150 every quarter, free parking, free hospital gym. The benefits are great in terms of health insurance. You also get $800 or $850 of like educational funds every year that you can use on anything that you can justify as educational. We're within driving distance of metropolitan areas like Boston, Montreal, New York. A lot of hiking, like I said, a lot of access to outdoor activities. As far as like, if pursuing a fellowship is something you're interested in, basically anyone that has ever wanted to pursue a fellowship from Albany Med has gotten the fellowship that they wanted. You get a lot of really well-rounded experience here. And if you want to go straight into general practice, you're well suited for that as well. Okay. Any questions? For interventional spine training, what are the common procedures? So we have a fellowship actually 2 fellowship trained interventional spine and pain docs. So obviously a lot of the procedures are, ablations, epidural steroid injections, SI joint injections under fluoroscopy, various joint injections under fluoroscopy. Sam, do you know any of the other procedural things for interventional spine? I don't think these PM&R docs are placing like neurostimulators. That's usually done by neurosurgery.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of hands-on stuff. So, my PGY3 year, I did probably 15 or 20 epidurals and SI joint injections in like the month that I was with the spine group.
Can you guys hear me?
Barely. We can barely hear you, Sam.
All right, excellent.
Have you had any US IMGs in the past? I'd have to look back. It's been a long time. And I think the reason for that is Albany Med is associated with a medical school. And
Is that
so
better?
Yeah, that's better.
All right, good. All right.
So it's I think it's been a while since we've had a US IMG, again, because we're such a small program, the spots tend to fill up, pretty fast. How big is the rehab unit in AMC? So there's sort of 2 inpatient experiences that we do. There's Sunnyview, which is the primary one. So that's again like 115 beds. That's the one where you will spend the majority of your time. The one built into Albany Med is probably 20 beds at most. But you spend far less time within the Albany Med proper rehab unit.
Loud.
Anything else?
Do the residents like each other, Kendall?
Yeah, we get along great. Close, tight-knit program. We actually a lot of us just got back from a golf outing that we had with the local prosthetics and orthotics group. So there are probably 7 or 8 of us that all made it out tonight. So work-life balance is great.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have a kid, and in a couple weeks, and the program has been very understanding about that. They've worked with my schedule. I can basically take the time that I need, so there's really no issues with that if that's what you're looking for. Thank you, guys. Any other questions? How closely do you work with the prosthetics and orthotics group?
So there's a prosthetics and orthotics group that kind of Kendall was referring to that we were playing golf with. There's another location that does strictly prosthetics, but we rotate through there for a full month, both of those places, a full month in our 3rd year and a full month in our 4th year. And then, beyond that, we work extremely closely with them. So that those are formal rotations for us, 2 months total with P&O. And you'll see everything in those settings from just office visits and initial fittings and follow-ups and so forth like that, to different kind of on-site fittings that both of those companies do. We find them to be like incredibly educational rotations, like not only because that stuff is super relevant from a board standpoint and just general PM&R standpoint, but just these particular folks that we work with are extremely just cool, very good teachers, super fun to be around. We value those rotations immensely. So we work with them extremely closely there. And then, we run into those guys on probably a weekly basis if you're at any one of the outpatient locations that we would just be in regularly during clinic hours. So very closely. Yeah, so there's a lot of opportunity. So the P&O experience alone, the prosthetists that we work with are both excellent, like, just totally top-notch people. One is closer to our age, I mean, your age, Kendall's age, somebody's younger's age, and then one's a bit older. So it's cool to hear and see the different perspectives that they have, but they're both just awesome. And we see a huge range of amputees as well, obviously in those 2 offices and when we do like home visits and so forth, but we see a lot in the clinics. Dr. Miller and Dr. Huss both see amputees, Dr. Miller especially. I would hazard maybe a third of her patients are amputees, something like that. So you see a ton there. And then obviously at Sunnyview, mostly Sunnyview, less so at AMC, but at Sunnyview, part of the general neuro floor is devoted to amputee rehab. So on any given day, there's probably, I don't know, what would you say, Kendall? Probably a quarter of the general neuro population is amputees. They just put them there, just happen to, because that also tends to be our purview when we rotate through there. So a lot of inpatient acute amputee kind of care, if you will. A lot of actual gait retraining when they represent to Sunnyview. Sometimes they'll bring them back inpatient there. Then obviously the P&O, and then plenty during outpatient clinic rotations with Dr. Miller and Dr. Huss. If anybody's interested in specifically, I know you mentioned in P&O and orthotics, you can feel free to look up the companies that we work with. We're not bashful about, it's not like a, you know, anything other than we just really enjoy what they do, and they are super nice to kind of help out. So it's not like any sort of business interest or anything, but you can look them up. We'll be happy to provide the names of them just so you can kind of get a sense of what they offer, the services, and kind of what kind of operations they are.